Hi, Judy Michaud here. In this video, we're going to cover different types of resumes. What we'll cover specifically is we'll go over chronological resumes, functional resumes, targeted resumes, combination resumes, and internal company resumes. The first one we'll talk about is the chronological resumes. They are the ones that are most widely used out there in the market today. They're mostly used when applying for another job in the same field that you've been working in. So if you're going from a welder position to a welder position somewhere else, or if you're going from a office administration to an office somewhere else, office admin job, and you're bidding somewhere else. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen the format and what it looks like. The best way to find a chronological resume is to go into Microsoft Word. They have templates and you can look up a chronological resume template and you can use that. No long gaps between employment. If you're doing this type of resume, you don't want to have like where you've been off for a year unless you can tell them it's parental leave or something like that. But if you were off for 2 or 3 or 5 years, you may not want to use this type of a resume. For employers, this format is quick, easy to look at, and they're used to these kinds of formats. When you're looking at chronological resumes, you want to make sure that you outline your past history by date. You start with the newest position and go down to the last position. Focus on the long-term positions that you've had. If you've had shorter positions, you don't want to focus on those. Start with your present and most recent position. List maximum of 4 positions, including place and time of employment. Unless, of course, you've had more jobs, you could go out 10 years. If you've only had 4 jobs in those 10 years, that's great. If you've had more jobs in those 10 years, you might want to not go out quite as far in the time category and put maybe 7 years or 5 years on your resume. Limit repetition of similarities between jobs and positions. What that means is if you have a job where you were doing office administration and then your next job that you had left was office administration and the title is the same and the duties are very similar, you might want to just put office admin duties similar to the position that I'm doing now instead of repeating all of the office things that you did. Or if they're very similar but there's something that's different, list the things that are different on the work history. So you're not showing repetitive on your work history and it looks like you've only done certain skills. If there are degrees to be listed, then include them briefly at the top of that section. Writing style should be short and concise. So not really super wordy because your resume is only going to be 2 pages at the most. When you're doing a functional resume, you want to focus on the skills and experience that are used when you have significant gaps in employment. So this is the one I said the chronological you may not use if you have gaps in employment. This is the one you would use if you have gaps in employment. If you're doing a functional resume, you may have various positions and varied background, and this is a good resume to use. If you have a short work history or a career change, let's say you're just getting out of college or university and you don't have a long work history, then you're going to focus on the objective, the degrees that you have, the skills and abilities that you have, and the experience that you have last. If you've just graduated, like I said, you would use this. And if you have no clear career path at this point, you would use this type of resume. Functional resumes. When using a functional resume format, make sure that you lay out your resume in a way that showcases your specific skills and your education, the talents that you have. Be prepared to explain gaps in employment in an interview. Write down skills and accomplishments. Organize the best, most relevant selling point on your resume. For instance, if you're doing the skills and abilities, you might put management being the highest skill that you have, and then sales being the next skill, and communications and leadership being the last skill. Those are the 4 skills that you're really good at. Arrange the resume by category, not by time. Include a section for each sort of experience or skill you can offer. So like I said, management, sales, communications, leadership. Add a short summary at the beginning of your resume. Add a brief work history at the end in order by date. So whatever you've got, put it at the bottom. Targeted resumes are built for the job that you're seeking. So you put your qualifications, your educational experience, objective for the job you require that you're looking for. And you use this if you want to show your work experience to the hiring manager. These are the most time consuming to put together because you're going to match your resume exactly to the job description. So this is where you're going to be looking at the job description in detail, and the words that they've got in the job description you're going to make sure are on your resume. So these are really time consuming resumes to put together, and they're very specific for jobs that you're bidding on. A combination resume. With this resume, you show both your skills and your experience. So you're looking at the functional type resume and then the experience that you have. You also are listing work history in date order. Your work history is by the most recent first. This type of resume allows you to tailor your resume to the job description. And it also shows your experience to the manager. It also can be quite time consuming. Internal company resumes, they're used for when you're bidding on a job inside of a company from one department to another. They typically will have some kind of a format that you use, and it's not really a normal resume. It's a formatted resume for the company. It's for internal advancement in the company. These resumes contain a simple list of the qualities and achievements that you have to date inside of the company, and why they would want to hire you internally. So we covered chronological resumes, which are generally the ones that most people use, and you're going to focus on your work history and outline your work history by date. That's the most important. The functional resumes are the resumes where you're going to focus on your skills because you haven't got a large background in jobs yet. Targeted resumes, you're targeting it specifically to the job description, so it's the most difficult one to do because you're really looking word for word and trying to mirror the job description to your resume. Combination resumes are resumes that are a combination of the functional and the targeted format, and they are also time consuming to put together. And you also want to display in a chronological order or in date order your work experience. Internal company resumes are used when you're bidding on from one job to another inside of a company. And those are the different types of resumes that you can put out. If you're looking for specific samples of chronological, functional, targeted, combination, internal company resumes, go online and just search each one of them individually. And you'll find all kinds of examples that people have put out there for these types of resumes. You can even go so specific as to put out welder chronological resumes, and you might find something in the specific field that you're looking to get a job in. Now you know what to do when you're looking for building your resume, and I'll see you in the next video.